Welcome to a very special roadshow edition of the Flashing Badger podcast. My name is Gordon. I will be your GM as usual. And joining me this week are...
Mike.
Fitz.
That notable silence is the absence of Wegs. So, we've gone on the road for a little trip, and unfortunately, Wegs has grown up responsibilities. You might notice my voice sounds a little bit different. That's because Mike made me go on scary roller coasters where I screamed until I lost my voice. So I apologies for that. But today we are playing the game Cyberpunk CBR PNK. It's published by Mythopia Games. It was created by Emmanuel Mello. It's a Forged in the Dark game. If you're familiar with the systems there, it's our first time playing. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Let's play the intro.
Flashing Badger, Flashing Badger, alright. Flashing Badger.
Thank you very much. As I said, we are playing Cyberpunk today by Emmanuel Mello. It's our first time playing the game. We are looking forward to it a great deal. Now, my two players today have created characters. I'm going to get them to tell you a little bit about them before we start the run. Cyberpunk is a game of runners in a traditional cyberpunk oppressive city. They're small people in very big corpo machines. The game sees them on their last run before retirement, before death, before who knows. But it's pretty final. The game is built for one-shots. Mike, tell me about your character.
I'm Spyda today, S-P-Y-D-A.
Of
No
course.
surname. I imagine I had a name at birth, but I go by Spyda now. I am so proud of my tech augments that I wear on my body. And for me, it's picture the wavy black hair, the cool new clothing, even though I probably don't have the finances to support what I'm wearing. I want people to have the perception that I'm high tech, really intelligent, and if you were to see a gang of misfit runners, I'm that one that you know you could beat in a fight.
Excellent.
I'd be lucky to be 100 pounds wet.
It's like 45 kilos, 40 kilos.
Something like that.
Why is Spyda running? What's Spyda's goal on this last run?
Spyda is desperate to make it big. He sees the others in the tech influence area that are high profile. They have all the gadgets. They have the luxury apartments that overlook downtown, and he wants that. And he's still living in the slums, and he's just greedy. He wants to upgrade his lifestyle. That's why he's here.
So this is the classic one last job, enough for retirement, and then he's out. How old is Spyda?
Spyda is mid-20s, and he's already convinced that he should have everything by now.
But I'm guessing he's grown up poor in the city. He's probably got, it's not the years, it's the miles, in not great shape.
Yeah, that's right. He's pretty busted up, but he's still very street smart as well. But he's had enough of it after 10, 12 years.
Wonderful. Fitz.
Yes.
Hello. Thanks for coming on the holiday with us.
No. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here.
Fitz has a perfect voice because he doesn't get scared like I do. Tell me about your character, Fitz.
My character is Brodie, just by Brodie at the moment. That's what everyone calls her. She is an early 20s young woman who's grown up in probably, if you could say, even one of the poorer areas of the poor areas that you get. The first thing you notice about Brodie, she's extremely tall. She's actually quite tall and very, very athletic. And one of the things Brodie prizes herself on is her physical ability, her physical acuity. She's very fit, very strong, very athletic, and it's something you definitely notice about her first. That and her quite high mohawk that she
brilliant.
sports with a bit of pride.
What colour?
Depending on the day, at the moment it's purple.
Is it like Cyberpunk enabled that she can like change it? She's got like a slider and a skull, or
That's
like
really
an
cool.
augment that changes the colour on the
I
fly?
hadn't thought about it, but that would be amazing.
Okay, you know
That
how you-
on her cyber deck, it changes the RGB.
Or like
Super
almost
cool.
like a mood mohawk. So depending on her...
it goes red and it's
yeah,
like,
she's
it's about
angry.
to go down.
Mohawk starts going angry and all of a sudden you know to get out of her way. Yeah, Brodie is very, very attuned to the streets, has grown up poor. Her background is basically her father, raised by her father, a single dad, and lives in the family home with him. He's a journeyman prize fighter, if you will, a little bit famous in the favela that she grew up in, but at the moment he's just that typical old punch-drunk type of fighter. He's pretty useless at home, so she's got all the home responsibilities for him and her baby sister.
Okay, what's her sister's name?
Her sister's name is Casey, little Casey.
When you say baby, like how old are we talking?
We're talking 8 or 9, so a bit of a gap, but not like a baby. Like,
And is it just Casey at home? Are Brodie's parents still around?
No.
Or is Casey?
Mother unfortunately died giving birth to Casey, leaving her alone with Dad, who's pretty useless, and Brodie, who's basically had to become head of the household.
Okay, so Dad's still around. He's just not.
Dad's still around.
He's not much help.
He's not much help,
All right.
money-wise or anything.
Each of your characters, because this is the Cyberpunk future, has like a distinctive signature augmentation. Mike, why don't you tell us what Spyda's augmentation is?
Spyda has a bionic eye, which is the brand, let's say, Syntech Optics. That sounds cyberpunky.
Yep.
And it's the Spectre Iris Mark III.
And is it an obvious augmentation? Like you can see that. Yep.
Yeah, it takes up like the 1/3 side around his face, around that eye. And it's really cool. It was designed that it could just give you public information coming in. So you were to look at a landmark and it would say that this is the Blade City Monument in Town Square. And when you look at it, it then does the date founded and monument
all
erected.
the open source public information?
That's everything that you could otherwise access as the public. But because I'm so crafty, I've downloaded from the dark web, like all the different ware that I've installed.
You've like jailbreaked it. And
Yes.
Yep.
And you can have intelligence that comes through to you as well. So if I was to pass someone in the street, rather than their just open source social media handle that they want you to see through these optics, it can also tell me a bit of information about this person. I might be able to see that they'd checked into a hospital on a particular date, or there might be their home address that they didn't want displayed, but it's through another means, like a breach of privacy software through a corporation and they got leaked. That's now in my firmware, so I can see that stuff.
That's awesome. Excellent. Brodie, what's your augmentation you've got?
So Brodie's augmentation isn't quite as obvious as that. You have to really look to see it, and it's actually called the Reflex Amplification Augmentation Filaments with AI-supported threat perception.
Please tell me there's an acronym for that.
So it's a RAF with an AISTP.
Really rolls off the tongue. I was waiting for it to be some cool word. It spells cyber.
Raptor.
But known as the Raptor. So essentially,
You stole that, didn't you? Mike just made that up and you just stole it. It's not even written down there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just stole it.
Yeah, awesome. But
it's
Raptor's
yours.
a cool name. Can we use Raptor for it?
I'm
Raptor from now
give
on.
me time and I'll rework the name into the
it fits the
Raptor.
acronym.
So it fits the acronym. And what this is from behind, it presents itself as sort of almost a large cyber implant on the back of Brodie's neck. But if you look closely, it's essentially a lot of fine threaded filaments that go all the way through her nervous system and into her limbs and body and that, which basically give her augmented reflexes. Mm-hmm. And with the AI threat perception, it's almost like I can't think of another way to describe it except for maybe a Spidey sense, which is if something happens as a threat perception on it, gives her almost cat-like or uncanny reflexes in order to get away from that. If
Pretty
you look
sure Marvel Comics now own this podcast because you've said that, but sure.
I picture like it's almost like a vibration notification on like part of your body.
It kind of looks like a scarab beetle or something on the base.
Yeah,
of
on the base
skull,
of the
like
neck. And if you look closely through her limbs and all that, it's actually a very fine threaded.
it's quite close to the surface. You can almost see
you can almost see it through like it's under the surface, but close enough
Like
when it's being
looks
activated.
like veins.
like a subdermal tattoo or something.
Exactly, yeah.
cool.
And when especially when it's being utilized, it almost glows a little bit, so it becomes a bit more
That's going to give us
perceptible.
away later.
She's moving so quick, you won't be able to see it.
Failing the stealth rolls because she's glowing in the dark.
warm. And her mohawk's changing colour.
You haven't specified how tall the mohawk is, so I choose to believe it's 6 foot tall. And she's going to struggle to get through doorways without angling her head. So this, as I said, Cyberpunk is a game of one last run. These two characters, the guys have made these characters with no knowledge of the run that's coming. Today we're playing a pre-written scenario, which I found called Mind the Gap. Mind the Gap was written by Emmanuel Mello, who made the game. Here is the setup. Your objective, you two, is to deliver a package to the extraction point at car number 22 of a trans-metropolitan monorail train. So with that information in hand, the players are asked to pick their load. So the way this game works is they choose if they're light for 3, medium for 5, or heavy for 7 load, and that allows them to unlock gear later on. Virtually what happens in the game is when they encounter a scenario where they need a piece of equipment, they kind of retcon into existence that it's always been there. They don't pre-choose gear, which leads to some really interesting creative choices. In light of that, how laden down are you, Mike? What kind of...
I'm going to go with light. I'm going to really lean into me being this weaselly thin character. So I don't think it would be appropriate that I then dish out a heavy. So I'm going to go light and, if I can, throughout the story, maybe like really tech-specific things. I say that now, but I'll jump on the first thing to save myself. I have a shovel. So I'm going with a light load for my gear.
Excellent. Fitz?
I'm actually going to go for a medium load for my gear, in as much as, given Brodie's height and athleticism, and especially standing next to Spyda, we're almost like a little enlarged type opposites thing. And the medium load, I think, it looks like a light load on her, but medium giving me a few more options later on down the track.
Yeah, it makes it slightly more obvious, I suppose, to passerbys. The light means you can blend in looking like a man in a suit. But the medium's going to give you some obvious bulk. People are going to think, they might think you're a cop or an undercover something, but there'll be a little bit of wariness. It's not completely overt, though. We set our scene on board a trans-metropolitan monorail train. And through the windows, there is this seemingly infinite urban sprawl off in every direction. And there's, the neon lights and there's advertising billboards. There's the overhead drones like in Blade Runner carrying, build a new life in the off-world colonies. And the passenger train that you're in you're in a carriage with some people in it. There's a bunch of people sat in the seats. The seats kind of run up and down the sides underneath the windows, and there's some of those that face forward and backwards as well. As our adventure starts, you're in car 18. There's a big 18 stenciled on the wall, and you have the package in hand. Tell me about the package. How big is it? What is it?
I have the package sitting on my lap, and it's the size of a lunchbox. And it's metal. It has these solid clips on one side of it. There's two clips on one side that you'd have to do the chunk chunk and open. But it's closed. So it has the electronic code that you'd need to enter to be able to then undo the clips. But this isn't an odd looking package. This is the sort of thing that you would still see throughout the city. It's on my lap, but you're not sitting next to me. You're like the full seat boots. Yeah. There's like two of those over and to the side offset, and you're facing me so we can see each other.
Nice.
And that's on my lap.
As our adventure starts, now that we know all these details, the flashbang detonates inside the carriage. And from one side, you can see a group of Black Hound paramilitary pushing into the cabin. And these are a paramilitary squad. They're all dressed in black. They're bulky, slow, and heavy. They've got those like insect eye, asymmetrical night vision goggles on. They've got pouches all over them. They look like a 1990s, comic book character. They have these neural linked weapons and assault gear, and they are pushing in through one of the side doors. As the train starts moving, they push into the carriage. You're caught in the ringing ears, blinding of the flashbang. What do you want to do? Don't feel this isn't an invitation that we're straight into combat. This is an invitation that you can do whatever you like.
And here's where Spyda's original positioning of us comes into play. Clearly, we can see that there's a group in here. I'm a few booths away, as we say, a few seats away. I'm going to sit tight for a second in the thought that perhaps they're going for this package. We know that someone will try and come for this package, and I'm going to hang back a bit because I'm not the obvious one holding the package. And this gives me an element of surprise if they do, with the thought being if they do approach Spyda, they're going to have to turn their backs to me to do so. And that might give me an opportunity to help or protect him and the package.
Okay.
I've stood up out of the booth. I'm really fortunate that my bionic eye can negate the effect of the flash. The bang has my ears ringing, so I can't hear much other than the as it's going. But I can close my biological eye and use the sensory system in my bionic eye. And that allows me, I've stood up, I'm walking up the corridor away from them in the center of the monorail carriage. And I've pushed the emergency stop button to contact the driver of the monorail.
So you push that button and there's a beep, and it sort of goes to that crackly radio sound. What do you say? He's like, driver's carriage.
I don't say anything. At this point, I use my electronic device from my wrist. I pull the cord, so the little jack thing goes zzz and comes out, and I plug that into the side of the display where you push the button to alert the driver. And it's a manual override of the train system is what I'm looking to now install and immediately implement to force the train forward at a fast rate of speed. So I've hopefully created a situation where the train is at come to 0 speed and now will accelerate really quickly to put people off balance that aren't prepared.
Okay, so let's try our first dice roll with that. So you've got a bunch of core approaches, which are aggression, smarts, empathy, or stealth. So you're going to use one of those 4 approaches, and then there's a subset of skills that you can use to add dice. So the way the system works is that will give you the number of dice that you roll. We're always looking for double 6s as critical success, 6 as a success, 5 partial, and so on. What approach are you using there?
This is my smarts. This is me being technologically creative rather than trying to have a physical confrontation. It's me weaseling my way out of a conflict to use my smarts. So I'm going to take my 2 for that. And we've got the 4 different approaches for your skill set. And smarts is my level 2. So that's my best. And then in terms of my skills, I'm really good at coding and electronics.
Yep.
I have a 2 in this, and then it also has an expertise in hacking. And this installing of the upgrade through this, I'd argue, is a hacking in these circumstances.
I would agree with you.
So I have 4 dice, and the hacking allows me, if I like, to discard one of the dice down to 3, but increase, if we're to be successful, the outcome, the effect.
Sure. Every roll in this game is categorized by threat and effect. Threat runs from 1 to 4, with 1 being very low and 4 being probably fatal, and effect runs the same way. And essentially, I, as the GM, get to assign things. Most things are going to be threat 2, effect 2. I think in this case, that's probably where it's going to fall. I think you have a risk that you've made yourself more obvious to them by standing up and by being involved in this. And I think the effect is going to provide some opportunities for them to be disoriented and things, but it's certainly not going to completely take out the squad or wipe out their ability. It's going to give you some sort of advantage. Threat 2, effect 2, so make a roll for those. Now, you can choose to make it more dangerous to get more of an outcome. And there's a few special moves as well that you can do, like pushing your rolls and things. But we'll talk about them as they come up.
Yep, so this was a threat 2, effect 2.
Yep.
Given that, I'm going to keep my 4 dice and not dispose of 1 to use the hacking component to increase the effect. So I'm giving you 4 dice.
Sure.
I have 2 6s for a critical success.
Most excellent. So, critical successes in this game, obviously the action succeeds completely, and you're also going to gain an extra benefit. It's going to uncover a secret, give you an improved position in the future, pinpoint a bounty, and the benefit you're going to get, I think, is pretty obvious, that there's an improved position for the future. So the train, in fact, you tell me how this manifests.
Normally, these devices can take a little bit of time based on what you're trying to hack into and their anti-hack software that they have installed.
Yeah,
I've got lucky on this occasion.
ICP, they're called in-game intrusion countermeasure protocols.
Amazing. That this is the older model of monorail train. Budget-wise, rather than installing the upgrades on all the monorails, they limited it to their newer range of monorails that will have more of the anti-cheating software.
And funny that you mentioned that, because when your thing first connects, when your deck first connects, you see it coming up with the schematics, like the operating system version, everything, and it displays the version that you sort of expect for the older model train, and then the screen glitches out for a second and the data scrambles, and then all of a sudden you're back where you were. And that seems a bit weird to you and a bit unsettling to you.
Okay, and I'd normally expect the progress bar, even if it's fast, to display every single number from 0 to 100 as it goes brrr, but on this occasion, it jumped a little and it did like 15, 80, and then all of a sudden it was done. But I got the result I wanted, which was it did the automatic hack, and then I have the control. And so I've just hit engage brakes, emergency braking system, EBS, and as I hit it, immediate effect. And the train, the monorail goes from, let's say, 60 miles per hour, because it was up to speed pretty quick, just goes bang, straight to 0. And this causes the people in their seats are pretty much fine. They just have the inertia shock back and forth. But anyone standing up is losing their balance and falling over.
So the whole Blackhound team basically stumble into each other. You see that sort of domino effect where they end up in a heap. And it doesn't look to you like they're obviously injured or anything, but obviously these are like fully laden guys in full sets of gear who have to struggle their way back to their feet. Just as you do this, as you trigger the braking and the unbraking, the overhead, the ads, the live ad down the side of the corridor, you notice that, they're all in their usual routine. And suddenly there's a PA announcement that comes over. It's like boom, boom, bing, bing. And it says, running can cause accidents. Please do not run. Go back instead. And then continues on. And you hear this sort of amid the clatter of everyone falling over. And it's odd because you would swear, Spyda, you would swear that voice is familiar to you on the announcement.
And some guy has a fluoro cyber juice that's been spilt all across the front of his shirt. And he's like, "Oi, come on. Just my luck."
Yeah, not my nano boost juice. All right, so these guys are stumbling down onto the floor. Brodie, what do you want to do?
And asking this from you as the thing, have these guys made their way towards young Spyda here?
Essentially, they entered down one end of the carriage. You guys are about midway along, and they virtually got thrown down to the ground. So they've basically made very little progress from inside, right inside the door there. They were heading your way. It's kind of the only way they can go. The door behind you leads increasing carriage numbers. So if you're going that way, you'll be going towards your objective there at car 22. And obviously, the cars the other way go countdown presumably to 1 where the engine is.
And they are between us and the doors, the ways that we need to go.
No, they've come in on the descending order direction.
Yeah, and this is where Brodie sort of, if you think of the movie, the smoke is still clearing, the carriage is in a bit of disarray. These night vision goggled black ops guys have sort of got up. And this is where Brodie sort of stands up amidst the smoke, and she's quite an intimidating figure. She is quite tall, quite athletic, quite built, and the tattoos all over her and her face and all that, which denote areas from which she's from, the street gangs and that which she comes from, set an imposing and quite scary figure. And using that heightened sort of streetwise aggression, if you will, and all that kind of stuff. Basically, this is where Brodie launches into action. She knows what she's on this mission for. She ain't the tech guy, she's the muscle. This is where basically she starts to engage with these 4 blokes, and I'm thinking pretty much that the 2 that are standing up get the old, as she rises up from the smoke, as they're rising together, "Hello, boys." The coconut crack together of their heads.
Brilliant.
And stepping through them as they go through with the intention of then engaging the 2 that are sort of in their 4 formation behind her.
So you've missed a crucial piece of information for me there.
Sorry.
What colour's your mohawk right now?
So it's funny, and this is what makes it even scarier. When Brodie's angry, it goes red. It's a pretty standard sort of mood ring colour. When she's calm, it goes blue. And when she's enjoying herself, it goes yellow. And this is going bluey yellow at the moment. This is why she's here. She's in here to crack skulls.
She's calm and having fun.
Calm and having fun, which also makes it a little bit more scary.
So tell me what skills you're using in this. What approach? I presume it's the aggression approach?
So it's the aggression approach, and with that, Brodie has 2. Brodie also has a 2 for close combat. Again, she knows what she's on this mission for. So she has the close combat expertise as well, and that's probably the 2 that we're going to look for here.
Okay, so because of Mike's actions and the fact they're off balance, what I'm going to do is your advantage is that you're in a better position. The threat is lowered. They're disoriented. They're not ready to react. They don't have guns up and things like they did when they first came in. And they no longer have the advantage of the flashbang. So I'm going to call it a threat 1, effect 2 roll. Mm-hmm. So you've got, 4 dice now?
4 dice for that,
So remember, you can choose to increase threat to increase the threat effect, or you can give up on your dice to give yourself another edge in the effect stakes if you would like.
No, I think I'll just go with the 4 at this point in time.
Okay.
I've got 2 5s, a 6 and a 1.
Great. I only care about the highest dice.
Yeah,
so
so I've got a 6.
So a 6 means it's a success. You've achieved exactly what you wanted to do. Tell me how that looks.
So again, rising out of the smoke as they're sort of getting to their feet, the first 2, cracking skulls together. Hello, boys. Bang. Out like a light, those 2. Down on the floor again, of your no use. Stepping in with almost augmented like speed and reflex to the next 2. Flurry of ninja movie-like, think Black Widow-y type, jumping on heads, spinning people around, judo chop, Steven Seagal like flipping. And within this flurry of arms, legs and feet, the end result is these 2 lying on the ground with one of them having my boot on their head in sort of triumphant pose going, "You right there, Spyda?"
Are you a little worried that these could just be ticket inspectors?
This is the cyberpunk future. They have to go heavily armored.
I just assumed they were ticket inspectors. We don't have tickets. I just noticed their little badges that said, "Can I talk to you about the word of the Lord Jesus Christ?"
Even worse, they're like the information people. They're like tourist information. They're
Do
like,
you have a time to complete our survey?
there's still a couple of them that are still stumbling to their feet. Obviously, there's 2 you've knocked out, and they're beginning to get their position back together, though. They're beginning to get back into a combat-ready stance. Which one of you is going to do something? And it can be, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to engage them. It can be that you want to run away, but you tell me how you're going to overcome this obstacle.
I'm still connected to the system, and I leave it connected because now I'm bringing the monorail back up to speed. I know that if we create an incident and we're static at a monorail platform, then it's easier for the authorities to respond. It is best for us, I think, to have the monorail continually moving to deliver our package. So I bring the monorail back up to speed, and it also means that if there is a driver on board, that they will have regained control, which is less of a reason for them to alert anyone else. I get the monorail back up to speed, and once I've done that, I unplug my jack, and I'm moving towards the first set of monorail doors to cross over into the next cart.
So you're aiming to move into carriage 19, as in you're in 18 at the moment, to move towards number 22?
Yes, and while I do that, I'd like to look at the people remaining on the monorail, because there's a few that are still seated to waiting to see what happens, and see what my bionic eye picks up as I move past them. I'm now suspicious of people around us.
Okay, so now that you're paying extra special attention to the people around you, you can notice that one of the commuters right down near where the flashbang went off and where Brodie's just dispatched these two is still like propped reading a newspaper. He seems completely unfazed by what's going on.
And I get no information back from them because the newspaper's blocking their face, so it hasn't done a facial recognition to give me information or intelligence on that person. So I consider that.
Are there two eye holes cut out of the newspaper?
There are not.
Okay.
They might be,
He's okay. He's not sus.
they might be cyber eye holes. I don't know
Must
how
be
it
a
works.
good article that's kept him engaged.
He's reading the star signs.
He's doing Sudoku.
Yeah.
As soon as the flashbang went off, the carriage has gone into lockdown. So that door is now going to be locked into carriage 22. So I might get you to do me just another hack roll and see how you go getting through that door.
Yeah, so picture the door is electronic and can slide open from the center outwards. On the left-hand side is a display that has a card reader override access, but also has another electronic information display on it.
Yeah, I'm also happy that the system you're already plugged into, the central train control, I'm also happy that you can get access to it from there if you prefer,
Yeah.
but you do you.
So you're saying remotely I can access that, or I'm re-plugging in at this point?
No, I'd say you can have stayed plugged in from the previous one, like you've ridden out the rocking in the train and you've kept your connection active. I'm perfectly happy.
Yeah,
with that.
amazing. Because I have on my wrist, it's the size almost of my forearm. Picture like a Pip-Boy or whatever's on Predator's wrist with his little. I'm using that, and it's still remotely connected to the network.
So this, and I should have done this before, but this connects us through to the gear system, where obviously that sounds to me like a cyber deck that's part of your gear. So Mike had three load points. So essentially what he does now is look down his gear list and tick the cyber deck that's there, that was always there. So he now has 2 remaining gear points or load points. It's a system where things materialize into being when you need them, and the storytelling is that they were always there, which is a great little system to keep things dynamic.
I'm standing at the doors because I've forgotten that there's going to be the override and that I couldn't go straight through. So I found myself carrying the package, standing in front of the doors, and now using the cyber deck on my left wrist. And I'm going straight into the menu options of door override and carriage override for the car 18.
You're in 18,
doors.
car 19 doors?
Yeah, so I've got to open the 18 doors to be able to get out.
Sure.
So you'd like another check from me?
Yep.
So again, I'd be using my smart and the coding. Mm-hmm. And is this a threat effect?
Yeah, I think we're going to keep it as, again, threat 2, because they're still going to be suspicious of someone who's jacked in there, but effect 2, which should be enough to open the doors.
Yeah, so I'm not going to try and push it by reducing a die and using my hacking expertise. So I'm going to give you the 4 dice. Mm-hmm. And again, I have a 6 for you.
Great. So it goes exactly as you planned. Tell me about that.
Again, I access and I use the menus when I jump from one menu to the next, and it asks me to put the car number in that I want to manually override. The numbers are in a different position. Normally it's that traditional numpad, select the numbers. Mm-hmm. And when I push for car number 18, it's actually 32 that I'm pushing because I'm pushing where the numbers should be. Okay. And it still gives me a success as though it displayed 3 and I registers as car number 18. I press those 2 and hit the hash to confirm. And as soon as I do it, it goes, little red light on the display just goes beep, beep. and goes to green, and doors now go because they sense me in front of them, and those doors in front of me are electronically open.
What is it, Johnson?
Precogs are stirring. We've got one coming in. Red Ball, Upper East End.
Roger. Deploy Delta.
Attention all personnel. Respond Team Delta. Deploy to rooftop for a code 32.
What was that?
Precogs are stirring again.
Another? Must be one of those days.
Coming through now. And wait a second.
What is it?
Hold up. I'm checking the chart. I haven't seen this one before. It's a green ball with white dots on it.
An error?
The precogs don't make errors. What the hell is a code 88?
My God.
What is it?
Code 88. Code 88 is a...
Megalodon Genoisaur!
How long do we have?
Only enough time to say your final prayers.
Flashing badger.
So tell me about what's happening now. Are you making your way through those doors, or are you going to tidy up what's left of this Black Hound squad?
I'm looking to tidy up the rest of this Black Hound squad. I don't want people following us down the carriages as we move through. And so I start to engage the two that are remaining.
I like to picture that Brodie is so invested in this fight, bouncing from one target to the next, that she almost doesn't even notice that the doors are his to open.
Absolutely not. One of the things is, if you're going to have to do this kind of work, you should at least enjoy it. And this is the part that Brodie enjoys. She enjoys the combat. She enjoys the fight. She enjoys the fun, as she calls it, of cracking jaws and kicking ass. So she's pretty quick to step in and straight away into close combat with these two remaining blackguards.
And this is why we find ourselves paired together today.
Yes, 100%. We have our tech-savvy brains of the operation, and I'm under no illusion that I'm here purely as the brawn.
So tell me about how the fight goes, or tell me about what you want to do with this fight. There's a couple of remaining Black Hounds there.
So these are the two remaining black hounds, and you did say that they had small arms?
Yeah, they've got submachine guns. Yep.
But big hands? No.
Well done. Yep.
So they have their two submachine guns, but as you mentioned, they're quite disoriented, and as they're rising up from being swayed back and forth by the monorail, jerking back and forth as they go along, they still haven't scored their feet properly. And again, this is where, in a flurry of kicks and fists, which moving quicker than you'd expect someone of my size to do, I'm engaging with both of them with the intent of disabling them, whether it be through unconsciousness. I'm happy to crack a neck as well. I don't mind using lethal force here.
So I think it's still going to be a threat too, because even though they're sort of off balance, they're heavily armed. There is the potential for this to go very wrong if they manage to get a submachine gun brought to bear. And effectiveness 2, which should see you out, as in removing the threat completely. So I'm happy for that to be your role.
Yep.
So again, it's that same 4 dice, is it?
It is going to be the same 4 dice. I'm not going to use anything specific here and lose one. I'm just going to go straight for the same 4.
So
I've my highest is a 2.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So this goes horribly wrong for you, because what happens is
I slip on that guy's spilt neutral juice, whatever it is.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so as you go in and all your combat systems are firing at the moment, and you're seeing the world almost in slow motion. But as you launch your back foot, there's that horrible squeak as it loses grip on the lino floor of the train, and you launch in, it throws you completely off balance. And what that means is, as you get to the first one and you drive your palm up under his chin in your opening strike, the second one, who's trying to get his slung submachine gun untangled from his gear pouches where it fell under him, actually lets off a burst which stitches across one wall of the cabin. And one of these rounds catches you in the bicep sort of area.
Yeah.
So that's what we call harm, obviously.
Yep.
In this game, the way you take harm is you write down an injury on your harm track there. Essentially, you get level 1, level 2, level 3 injuries all the way up to death. You can resist that harm if you would like by telling me about how your armor resists it, or by using your specific augmentation to resist it. That does cost you stress, though.
And this is where my augmentation comes into play. My AI threat perception on my augmentation, it essentially uses hypersensitive, whether it be through visual or sound or anything like that, hears the cracking of this gun and instantly knows that there are things flying my way, and almost in a Matrix-like slow-mo, jerks my arm and moves my body out the way.
It's like
It's almost involuntary.
It takes over.
It takes over.
It's like getting your reflexes tested.
Yeah, it's like
it fires a pulse.
It's a force spasm.
Yeah, I'm mid-punch, and as my arm's coming across, my threat perception AI sees it and throws my arm back and moves it out of the way. So I don't get to finish what I'm doing, but I'm also moved out of the way of the bullet.
So the way you do resistance is don't write that harm down straight away. What you do is you roll dice equivalent to your approach, which again I'm going to say is under aggression. So just roll those 2 dice. You get no bonuses.
Yep.
And depending on the result will depend how much of that harm you avoid. What have you rolled?
I rolled a double 1.
All right. That's horrible. You should be able to roll. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 stress.
Okay.
And the way I pitch this is, the augments have thrown your arm out the way, but they've actually sort of wrenched it back with enough force and they've thrown you off balance. It hasn't injured you. So you've still avoided the harm, but you've taken this, it's thrown you completely off balance. You're out of your zone.
Yeah.
You're rattled, I suppose, for now.
I'm almost on my back on the carriage as well.
Yeah, it's like it's completely, instead of just the arm twitching out the way, it's been like your whole torso has pivoted around and sort of put you on the back foot, metaphorically and literally, I suppose.
And for our listeners, there is 7 stress points available, and that's 3 gone.
So stress is very much a currency that you can spend to do things like push your rolls or assist others or even do flashbacks to set up more favourable circumstances. But when you fill up your stress, you choose one of your approach methods, one of those 4, aggression, smart, empathy, or stealthy, to be permanently glitched and permanently at disadvantage. And you are taken out of action, or you expose a team weakness, or your team loses an advantage, or you damage or overlook something critical. So running out of stress it's not catastrophic as death, but it's a pretty bad position to be in. There are ways to recover stress. You can take a moment and chill, but probably now is not the exact moment.
No, I wouldn't think so. As I lay on my back like a stunned monkey.
What colour's your mohawk?
My mohawk now is kind of an off-hue aqua. It means I don't know what's happening.
Oh, okay.
It's
I'm
like
confused.
disorientation,
Disorientation,
Yeah, I like that.
confusion. I'm going to have to write down this colour scheme so I don't get them done.
So I'd say you're now going to be in a worse position because this one soldier now has the one that you got your half palm strike in. He's not out of action, but he's kind of still reeling. But that one who got his submachine gun unslung is now getting to a position where he can get his rifle or his machine gun up to the shoulder. Probably looking pretty poor. So I think anything you do from now is going to be in a riskier threat position. Mm-hmm. Spyda, and there's no turns here. You're welcome to go whenever you want, but tell me how you're going to offset that.
It's this point where I'm seeking to cross the threshold from car 18 into 19. So it's the first time that I look back to see what's happening. And I could hear a whole bunch of punching, and having the confidence of Brodie, I was like, that fight's been won. But I hear the slips, I hear a burst go, and I decide, oh no, and I look back. I'm no longer confident that we're winning this fight. I can see that there's bullet holes. I can hear the whoosh of the wind coming through now, and there's more panic in the car, except for Newspaper Man, who looks fine, but there's other people ducking as the rounds let fly.
Yeah, so funny you should say that, because Newspaper Man, now that you've moved to that different angle where you were near the door, you can actually see that the digital paper that he was reading is actually turned off. There's nothing even on it.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a few people who are reacting and screaming, and a couple of people have got down in the gaps between seats. But there are a couple that just seem like completely oblivious, like they're sort of watching, but they're not really reacting how you'd expect when a automatic burst of fire has just gone through the cabin.
Now, these model of monorails have their different lighting systems. It has the generic sort of fluorescent lighting. There is always like a low light. I can cut the lights completely. But another thing that's available to assist with the security cameras is the infrared lighting system that it can project as well. Now, I can see on my wrist cyber deck here that the IR strobing or lighting is down to 0. And it would normally have something at all times of the day. It may only be on 20% or whatever, but it's on 0. And I read into that their devices that they came on wearing, their night vision, would have an IR sensitivity as well. I'm seeking to exploit that. And I'm going to ramp it to 100, and then 0, then 100, then 0, then 100 and 0, and create a strobe effect that will be invisible to us, but I think will start to jam their systems, creating a disorientation for them.
Like their night vision's trying to adapt, but falling slightly behind.
Yes.
So it's making theirs go bright, dark, but to human eyes, it's out of frequency range.
That was a long way of explaining
Great.
how I do it, but that's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. I think, again, I know it's slightly boring, like making you roll the same thing, but I think, again, this is a hack roll, but I do think you're now in a more difficult position.
Yep.
So I'm willing to give you, it's going to be threat 3, and I think it's only going to be effect 1 at the moment, because it's not going to put them out of commission, but it is something that's going to give you future advantage if it goes well.
Yeah, this leaves me in a really tricky spot, because I think I want it to be more effective than effect 1, because I want to win this encounter. But if I take us to threat 4...
Threat 4 is catastrophic. It's
that's
death.
really
And
bad.
Threat 3 is already very bad for you. But I think, unfortunately, Brodie's put you in a position now where they're weapons free.
Yep.
And I don't suspect they're going to be that worried about the other commuters in the train.
Yeah. Spyda isn't known for being calm and rational all the time. And he's impatient and he wants this done because he's already trying to think 4 cars ahead when he should be in this moment and he's not. So he's going to sacrifice a die to use the expertise of his coding, and I'm only going to roll you 3 dice.
Okay, so that's called, in the system, that's called gaining an edge, where you're giving up a dice and you are gaining an edge in either reducing threat or increasing effect. So you're going to use that edge to increase effect?
Correct.
All right, so how, we'll talk about it when you roll it, but think for me about how it's going to completely take these people out of the fight if you do succeed.
Okay. There's my 6. I have a success.
Excellent. So tell me how this...
Could have used one of them in my rolls.
Your outcome can certainly be different. It can be that you've sent them an electric surge or whatever, but I'll let you tell me that story.
So picture exactly like I said, it's the 0 to 100 swipe bar on my wrist, and I've got it on the IR setting, and it's just up, down as fast as my finger can move. And as I start to do this, you see them just overwhelmed, unsteady, trying to get their balance, and it won't come to them. And the reason for this happening, it is very common for people in positions of security and mercenary forces, whatever they are, will have set company chips that they're installed with that will accommodate not only their night vision, their electronic systems, but will send back to HQ in the dispatch area. It will provide all of the readings and diagnostics on their suits, on their heart rate.
Live telemetry going to Corpo HQ.
Correct.
Yep.
Now, this is all so sensitive, but it's not used to being messed with like this. And what I've done is I've overwhelmed those circuits and the systems through the flooding of the NVGs that it is causing them to involuntarily seize.
So like a neural feedback loop? Is
Yes.
that we put them in like a... Yep. I love that. That's fantastic. And yeah, you got your success. You took the... I'm happy to... That's great. So it's a dark image, but the remaining 2 black cans are like on the ground, like spasming, like seizing, and are out of the fight. I'm pretty satisfied with that.
And all of a sudden, my mohawk color changes to purple because I'm annoyed. That's what that denotes. I'm annoyed that I failed a little bit here. I didn't get to beat the hell out of the last 2 like I planned. The whole picture in my head of how it was going to go out didn't happen because of this guy's damn spilt NutriBullet drink or whatever it is. And I'm a little bit annoyed. Mohawk's gone to purple. I get myself up, dust myself off, and shoot Spyda a dirty look like I had it.
I may not have been paying enough attention because I was so fixated on them. But by any chance, as I was doing the strobing of the IR and the overwhelming of their systems, did anything change with the digital display newspaper that our mate in the booth up the end was holding?
No, not what you saw.
Okay.
You only caught, obviously, glimpses of him amidst all the panic and things, but as far as you could see, he stayed there, absolutely planted.
Excellent.
You do see now, though, closer to where you are, Spyda, close to that end of the carriage, you see that there's an elderly man who's wearing VR goggles, as you know, a lot of commuters do, and you can see he's got the haptic feedback gloves on and things, and he's moving around. And you can see that at the moment that Brodie was engaging with him, you can see that his hand gestures mimicked the bringing up of a submachine gun. And now that you've done this thing, you can see that he's sitting there and his hands are just like on his lap, palm ups, open hands are just slightly twitching. And he's just head sort of slumped forward. He looks like he's maybe fallen asleep in his VR game, but he's not reacting to stimulus.
And we both saw that?
Spyda saw that.
Yeah.
What would you like to do now? So the door's open into carriage 19.
And
you're just to reiterate for people at home, carriage 22 is your objective when this run started. You're in 18 at the moment. You can move towards 19, or obviously they descend the other way down to 17.
I prop the door with my foot, indicating that I'm not ready to leave yet, but I don't want to miss the opportunity. And as Brodie's standing and dusting herself off, I nod towards Newspaper Man, and I just say, the one person on this train not to react, and give a nod to Brodie.
Okay.
So Brodie, and this is the thing, Spyda and I, whilst not the best of mates, have worked on runs before, either part of bigger teams or together. We understand what's involved. We understand that this is one last run. And apart from my annoyance and sort of saying to Spyda at the beginning, I had that in that sort of, annoyed fox type way. Oh yeah, I didn't like the grapes anyway. I had that. I acknowledged straight away when he goes, the only one to move. I know what that means. I know that's a signal for. I dust myself off, walk past, step over the guards that are there sort of doing, and make a beeline straight for this bloke. And pretty much as I get close to him, I assess and understand what he's saying, that he's got the VR on thing. He looks like he's twitching like the guards do. And I pretty much slap the VR off his face and pick him up by the lapels. He's a smaller old man. And oi.
Okay, what's your objective here by doing this? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get some interaction with him?
Pretty much, and get some interaction and almost maybe even some information. Oi, what are you doing? What's going on? That kind of question.
Okay. I'm not going to make you roll for this.
Who are you? What's going on?
He's a very small old man and you've got combat implants. So sure enough, you knock the goggles askew off his face and he looks at you almost uncomprehendingly. And he goes back and he puts his hands up and he just lowers his goggles back and sits back down.
Does that mean something to me? Would I understand, given this futuristic type, what you're doing?
You think it's unusual behaviour. So you've still got him by the lapels and he's even just slumped his weight as if he's still sitting and you're still pulling his shirt and his neck up, but he's put the goggles back on and seems to have disappeared back into that world. It's unusual for you in the same way that if you knocked an iPad out of someone's hand on the train nowadays, there'd be a reaction.
Yeah, righto. And I sort of look at Spyda. I'm sort of confused going, this bloke here. I'm almost happy to... I reef the goggles off his face again and I hand them to Spyda.
At this moment, an announcement plays over the train intercom. It's, bing, 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 bing. I'll insert a nicer noise here in the edit, but it says, the use of firearms is prohibited inside the vehicle. The Trans-Metropolitan Monorail Company thanks you for your compliance. And that's it. Just stops.
Oh, call a ticket inspector on these other guys. So I still go down this line of trying to get some, I pick him up by the lapel, I take the goggles off him, almost throw them to Spyda, like, check these out. You're a tech guy, check these out. And I sort of, as I'm picking him up by the lapel, I'm getting no reaction, but I'm essentially almost giving him a pat down as well.
Yeah.
And yelling at him, oi, who are you? What's going on? Who are you?
You find, not only do you not find anything in his pockets, you find that his clothing doesn't have internal pockets. There's no pants pockets.
The newspaper's been lowered. The goggles are off his face.
Sorry, these were two separate guys. Newspaper guy and VR goggles are two separate guys. You've conflated the two.
He put them together.
He's talking about... Brodie's done VR goggles guy. Newspaper guy is still sat there.
Yeah, I'm doing VR goggles guy.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
My bad.
I thought you sent me to be VR goggles guy.
Nah, I want a newspaper man.
I can go beat him up for you if you like.
The one with the VR goggles, now that he has the goggles off his face, does my bionic eye display any information for him?
No, it gives you the Terminator line coming out of him but it just gives you data not found, data not found, data not found. And then it gives you like a few lines of like random characters, which is weird to you because usually you would just get a single tag of data unknown or you'd get something, but you get nothing off this person at all.
Okay. I look at the information display next to me, which is the public information on the monorail, and it shows the rail network and all the different stops and the little lights and the bing, bing, bing of where we're going.
And it's not displaying anything.
Okay.
The train is still moving, as you know, because and going past outside, you can see buildings and everything, but you haven't hit another station yet. And the location display is just glitching. Like it will bring up what looks like a map with no names on it and then glitch out for a second. Next time it comes up, the map looks slightly different and glitches. It's like it's going through some data corruption.
Looking out the window, I can get a sense of my knowledge of the city, of where we are, how far we're going, and time-wise what we're working with. So I'm eager to keep us moving from one carriage to the next.
So you spend a moment gazing out the window, using your street knowledge to assess where you are. And you notice that the cityscape outside the window is not changing. You keep going past. You've seen the same landmark go past. For the few minutes that since the flashbang went off, you've noticed the same section of town square go past.
Oh, wow.
Multiple times.
You should squat down and look out one of the bullet holes and see if it matches what's going on out the window.
I might I could even almost retcon an issue here with when I've taken the VR goggles off old mate, rather than throw them to you, almost maybe have a quick look myself.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I've almost got him by one hand, by the lapels up on his sort of thing. I've given him the pat down. He's given me no reaction at all. I'm starting to think he's just Brodie ain't the cleverest. Starting to think that she doesn't really care about this stuff, but she just wants to move forward. But given the indication that Spyda gave to her, has a quick glance inside the VR goggles. What's this guy looking at? Trying to get some more information out of it.
And it comes up display offline.
Display
and it's
offline.
Running static in the background, connection lost, display offline.
Yeah, and in that regard, I've pretty much lost interest in this bloke now. I'd rather roughly manhandle him, sort of throw him down onto the ground almost. Throw the goggles to you, Spyda, see if you want him. And I'm like, let's get out of here.
I have to know. I squat and look out one of the bullet holes.
That's a good move. I like it. You look out through the bullet hole and it shows you the same view as you see through the windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to keep moving. We've got
Yeah.
to get this job done. And I feel like the heat's gone up. Ready to move?
Let's go.
The announcer goes, bing, 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 bing. Please secure your packages or throw them through the window now.
Ooh, throw them through the window. I feel like this monorail is giving us subtle hints on how to act and behave.
So as you're making your way through to carriage 19?
Yes.
Yes.
So as you make your way through, again, the cavalcade of overhead screens that run the ads, up above where the passengers usually sit, is going constantly. And you see some of the usual stuff. You see the ad for Acer Associates and their brands and the CyberLife Tower, and come see the viewing deck on level 186 of wherever. But you also see there's lots of ads for things that you're sort of slightly familiar with but seem wrong. So there's buy now, Chanel number 12, visit Camp 12 on the outskirts, fun times in the city. And there's something slightly off. They don't align with the brands that you know. It's like visit KFC with 12 secret herbs and spices and enjoy Coca-Cola, proudly in business for 12 years. Cyber Cola, I'm guessing it is. Proudly in business for 12 years. Which is clearly wrong to you. And a few of them sort of glitch and flutter and then come back in their more correct version. But you've seen this clear pattern of the number 12 coming up.
This ends with me making you sit in one of the chairs and fall backwards out of it, and I catch you, and we see if we can wake you up from this cyber dream.
You say something to me like, pinch me, and I just 100% slap you across the face.
And the cyber things kicked in. So the arm acceleration knocks you to the floor.
I think we might be asleep, and I just, without even you asking, just slap you as hard as I can.
Right, so which way do you want to go? Do you want to continue moving through that open door you've got to carriage 19?
Yeah, I'm business orientated. I've package under arm moving into car 19.
Yeah, and I'm the same. Being so aware that this is the last run, I just want this done. Right? There's a goal, there's an objective, and I see these things that are weird and that are happening, and I'm sort of almost purposely ignoring them. Like, they're weird, something's wrong here, but it doesn't change what I need to do today at the moment. And I'm just hyper focused on the goal.
So you move through into
Are there people in
carriage.
this carriage? Other people in this carriage?
I'm about to tell you the story.
Oh, okay.
That's how this game works.
Jeez.
So as you move through into carriage 19, you see it's obviously all these carriages are very similar. There's a large stenciled 19 on one of the walls. And the second that you sort of cross the threshold, you can see that some of those rooftop ads say, don't run, face them, destroy now, turn back. But it's just like that subliminal like flash of bold text on them, and then is back to its normal, resuming its scheduled programming. But you make your way through into car 19 there, and you walk out and you find yourself re-entering. And it says carriage 18, but it's an exact duplicate of the carriage you've just been in. There's old man in VR goggles. There's man with blank newspaper. There are no corpses or unconscious squad on the floor, but apart from that, it's identical, complete to which seats are vacant and which are occupied. The only thing that appears to have changed is the number 18 on the wall instead of the 19.
And this is something that, whilst I was saying that I was hyper-focused earlier, is now, if you're stepping through one gate into the exact same room again, it's noticeable and it's a bit freaky. I sort of look around at Spyda and, almost straight out loud, what the hell? Making sure that we're in carriage 19. Like, what the hell's going on?
I don't even look at you. I'm still looking forward, and I let out one of those cyber swears like Drac or something.
I don't believe we can air that.
Oh, no.
We have to censor it. It's too far. Well, I'll leave you here, I think, for this week's episode with mystery unraveling in front of you. We'll pick up next time. As I said to you before, we just played the game Cyberpunk, written by Emmanuel Mello and published by Mythopia Games. If you want to grab a copy, Drive Through RPG actually has a great bundle on Cyberpunk and a couple of its, not even expansions, they're like plug-in modules. And the game is literally 2 sides of A4 is all of the rules. It's fantastically well laid out. It's really impressive. I'm definitely going to get my hands on a physical copy, not just the PDFs I have now. But jump on Drive Through RPG if you would like a copy. We love reviews in universe, please. If you were the old man wearing VR goggles who just got assaulted for no reason on the train, leave us a review. If you are one of the train drivers who has his systems hacked, leave us a review. In-universe reviews are our favourites, and we like to read them out. We didn't bring any with us because we're on the road this week, but we will
I might
read
get
out
some
our
for next
favourites.
week.
Excellent. Tell your friends about the podcast, please. We would love more listeners. That unlocks the opportunity to do more. We are just 3 dudes in an apartment this time. Usually we're 4 dudes in a basement. There is no production team behind us. We are just having fun here. So you telling people helps us unlock the opportunity to do more extravagant episodes.
And the other things that help us is we have the podcast and we have the YouTube painting channel of Flashing Badger Painting, but they're connected through a Patreon, which is financial support. So for as little as $1 a month, this unlocks the behind-the-scenes exclusives, the Discord community, there's prizes and giveaways and painting programs. So for as little as $1 a month, come be a part of our amazing community. I think there's almost 400 people already in our Discord, and there's amazing painters and podcast enthusiasts in there for you as well. The painting channel, yes, if you want to see all about miniature painting, whether it's Warhammer Fantasy or something different, that's me, Mike, over on YouTube. And yeah, I've covered it. Be part of shaping our narrative with our podcast by being involved in our Discord.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Next week, we'll be doing the next episode of Cyberpunk, the Mind the Gap scenario that I've really enjoyed so far. Fitz, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I think my highlight of the episode for you was your mohawk color change.
I was
mood
going
ring.
to use it. You're not allowed to use one.
I'm using them. I'm doing them for you this time. That's my favourite part of yours. My favourite part of Spyda's is that he's worked out that getting things on the right amplitude, whether accelerating or decelerating, or lights going or not, is the solution to every problem in the future.
Yes.
I think frequency is the answer. Let's stick with it from there. As always, I've been Gordon.
I've been Fitz.
And I've been Mike.
Thanks for joining us. Catch you next time.
Flashing Badger.